things, including with the Zika stuff in South America, where the babies are coming out deformed with big heads, and the syphilis experiments in Africa, right? And the whole mRNA release. Like, dude, I get it. I condemn it also. What's your point?
Can't speak because I'm muted. Keep getting muted here.
No, I know, Jin.
My point is...
Jin, you're going to get muted again if you don't let me just talk to you.
Now,
yeah, I know, because you keep interrupting people, so then we have to mute you so people can finish. Just calm down a little bit. All right, floor is yours. Forgive me. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm not interrupting anybody else. I'm waiting my turn as per usual. I'm a loud man. I always will be. I'll be the loudest fucker on this server. I think you know that. But anyway, ladies and my point is this. Whilst you're pointing the finger at another country, look at your own country. That's all I'm saying. Look at your own country.
Okay, cool. Can I respond to that? So I get that's what you're doing. I already pointed out that that's what you're doing, but you're not, that's logically irrelevant. You're not addressing the argument. You're not refuting my argument that Hitler was not a good guy, that his organization, the Nazis, weren't good people. So stick to the argument. Don't deflect into some hypocrisy. You're appealing to hypocrisy.
No, I'm not. It's hypocrisy is what you're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, painting one picture, I'm balancing the scales. That's all I'm doing here.
Yeah, but I'm not the hypocrite.
Whatever, I'm nearly finished. When you hear whatever Hitler done, go back in the history of America, you will see American leaders have done some bad things themselves. When I say Hitler was a good man, he did some good things, he did some bad things. Okay, just like all the other leaders. I'm trying to balance the scales. That's all I'm doing.
Right, but I'm not. You gotta. So it would be different if you could use that as an argument if I'm also involved in the same type of behavior. Then you can point the hypocrisy out in me. You're appealing to hypocrisy when I'm not involved in that type of behavior, nor do I condone or promote that type of behavior. My point is to expose the wickedness that Nazi Germany was involved in. In your rebuttal is logically irrelevant because you're pointing out our government also involved in heinous things. So what?
So that means every government that you have is not good. So what, ladies and gentlemen, let me explain. This is why I say the world needs a revolution. We cannot be trusting any of our leaders. None of our leaders should be called leaders because this is what they're up to and they're all working together. China is no more an enemy to America than it is to Russia. They're friends. This is what I'm trying to say, that we're not really getting to the core truth here at the moment. We're not really educating the listeners properly because we're busy pointing fingers here and there. We're not actually dealing with the problem at its root cause, that they're all working together to undermine the taxpayer, you, the slave, us, the slaves, okay? That's where my point is heading. All right.
So you're not going to. You need to address the argument that Hitler was a bad man.
Left Lane, are you a fan of John F. Kennedy?
I don't know. I was like 1 year old when he was killed, so yeah, I can't say I was or wasn't.
Right on.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a fan of JFK. I'm a fan of Robert F. Kennedy, and I'm a fan of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is your Secretary for Human Health Services, isn't it now? So you've got a good man in position. You've got a man of integrity in position to do some good. Let's see if he does some good. Okay? That'll be the Kennedy there, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's come under fire the last couple of weeks, this week in particular. Should I say, sorry, last week, just before he got selected or into the position. But he's got a lot of work to do. He's going to find it's not going to be easy for him to do it, but we'll watch and see. A good man.
Something interesting about JFK I find interesting. I was like 1 year old, and I don't know, people talk about how they have memories that they shouldn't have, but I have a memory of my papa crying and saying the president's been shot, and I don't know, it's kind of weird. Maybe it's
I have that same memory.
Something else caused that.
I have that same memory.
Yeah, I remember my papa crying.
It was my uncles and my aunties. My aunties were crying because at that time, black people in America were due to be getting looked into to get to have the right to vote, for example. And I was remember in 1963, I was only 2 years old at the time. Yeah, okay. So but I remember my aunties in particular crying when they got the news that Kennedy died. Kennedy had been killed. So I had that image. I've got that image. I'll never forget it. Okay. But it wasn't
You wanna
until
hear
I
other-
grew up
Well, the
that
reason
I
I was
understood
asking,
all the implications of all that. It took years.
yeah, the reason I
Go
was
ahead.
asking about JFK is because when he was 28, he wrote in his diary that Hitler will emerge from the hatred that surrounds him now as one of the most significant figures who ever lived. He goes on to say that he had in him the stuff of which legends are made. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
For that piece of information. Thank you very much. Yeah. So there you are. There you have it. There's JFK, a man of impeccable integrity himself. Didn't agree with his womanizing, of course. Not agree with that at all. Because that really undermined his wife and his family in a way, as a black mark. But he genuinely want peace for Earth. So much so that he actually planned to come to Japan here in 1964 to remove all military personnel from Japan on the grounds that Japan is a sovereign country. The war is over. He wanted to extend the olive branch and a friend that wouldn't cost any money to also introduce the schools and college program where the Japanese would go and learn English in America and Americans would come to Japan to learn English. Then there was business and commerce and cultural exchange. But it didn't. He sent his brother to deliver that news in 1963. Okay, so his brother came to announce that. And then shortly afterwards, Kennedy was gone. Okay, so there you are. A man of impeccable integrity, I tell you. Peace. Remember, nuclear disarmament.
So-
He actually pushed it, didn't he? Nuclear disarmament.
So do you concede that Hitler was a bad man?
Hitler did some bad things. Hitler did some good things.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
virtue
that's
signaling. Like,
fair.
hey, listen, like, in reference to what? Hitler was a bad man in reference to what? Can you name a good man in politics that people can't, like, prove was a bad man? Obama v. Hitler was pretty good. Obama drone striked a bunch of children. That's a pretty good one. It's like,
That's
in
but
reference to what?
you're doing
Hitler
the same
bad
thing
in
as he
reference
was
to
doing,
what?
though.
Yeah, you're deflecting.
No, you can't just say this thing was bad, this thing was good. You need a reference point, or else,
Yeah,
like, is cotton
we,
candy bad?
so we have in America, in the West, we have a Christian moral background, and we don't have to appeal to the Bible, but we have a standard to live by. Neither Obama or Hitler lived by that standard. So if you want a standard, I mean, the Holy Bible is a pretty good one, bro. I don't know if that's news to you today, but I'm here to give you the message, bro.
I'm just
That's
asking what your
okay. We got the
reference
message.
point
Not
is.
everybody has to follow the Bible.
Well, again, I'm trying to.
The
So
Bible
the
is
thing
not
is,
gonna
we can't even
be all or
agree
the
that
end all.
any of this actually happened because you guys are just deny that any of these medical experiments were done, that any of these people were dead.
No,
like
we
getting
don't deny
gas in
that.
the.
I'm not denying that at all. I'm not denying that at all because eugenics is from the Germans. The Germans were the best at it. They did so much. Well, I say the best at it, but they were not doing it for our benefit of humanity. No. So that wasn't a good thing. Just like Robert Malone, for example. I'll give you an example. You have Robert Malone who created this mRNA, right? And it's what's the word they call it? Something
mRNA.
box.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
Botox.
Pandora's box. Pandora's box of problems have now come out of that. Man himself apologized for creating something that has caused a lot of problems? No. He doesn't even think that he did wrong, but he did wrong to create that thing in the first place. What motivated him to create the mRNA that is now fucking everybody up? This is what I'm saying. You see what I mean? There we have it. So there's a lot of things
Now,
going on
this
out
is a
there.
touchy topic, dude, and I don't mean to lash out on anybody here, including Jin. I love Jin. I love Galatrax. But this is something that it's infuriating when people defend Nazi Germany. And
Yeah,
like,
wait, don't let me
and,
in with defending anything. I'm just asking your reference
Yeah, we're
point.
defending the
Whoa,
truth.
whoa,
no,
whoa.
I know, it's all good. But listen,
America
guys,
is a
guys,
Nazi.
guys.
America
Everybody,
is a Nazi
Jin.
Germany today.
dude.
No, I know. It's
America
getting
is a
too much,
Nazi
you guys.
Germany today.
Hold on, Jim. You gotta, Jim, whatever, dude. Just, if we're gonna have this conversation, you guys gotta do it in a calm way. You can't be yelling over each other and getting all heated because it's just unlistenable. So I think, honestly, Galatrax made a very good point based in logic. If you don't understand what he was trying to say, Galatrax, maybe you should repeat it. Please don't talk over each other. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, if you're gonna say something is bad, you need a reference point. You need a referent. So Hitler was bad is not sufficient. It's not a good argument, and nobody should use that argument. It's retarded, right? It's like Hitler was bad. Okay, great. You think Hitler was bad. Obama was bad. Okay, great. You think Obama was bad. I think vaccines are bad. I think we've been doing the same genetic testing on our people that Hitler was doing on his people, but probably way worse. So Hitler was bad is not sufficient. It's not a good argument.
And,
right,
well,
can I
I mean,
respond? Or go ahead,
Lion did
Leslie.
bring up Lion did bring up the hyperbolic testing where they tested hypoxia on mentally challenged children and things like that. That's wicked, fucking wickedness, like
Yeah,
execution wicked
it's the same with
and
the.
things.
Hold on,
And
hold
the
on.
question is not is the world bad or all the other leaders bad. The question is, was Hitler bad?
Right, in reference to what? That question is retarded.
So hold on,
You don't
I got
understand.
you. So the thing is, unanimously, even amongst the secular individuals in the chat, right? We can all agree that harm to children is bad, right? Like we don't need a book, we don't need a, you don't need to believe in God to realize that harming children
Sure.
is right. Like you don't need to be a prophet, Galatrax. Like, do we really have to answer that question, dude? Like,
Sure,
come
why
on.
are you patronizing me, man? I said that testing on children's bad. I think it's worse what we're doing in America today.
So okay, so when you say in reference to what, dude? Why are you even? Is that even like that's like a
Yeah,
obsolete question? It's a redundant
that's valid.
question.
No, it's not. It's
Well,
valid.
it's not
It's valid.
silly.
I'll give you a reference
Yeah,
to what. How about Stalin? Reference. That's a good reference. I mean, this guy
Well, I'm about.
not only
Hold
killed
on, dude. I
millions,
wasn't
but
done, dude.
he killed people. And he's yeah. Well, how long do you want to go, Lion?
Well, I didn't even get to. I asked him a question, and then you stepped in, bro. I haven't even
I'll
got
go after
to
them.
where I was
Okay.
gonna go, bro. I'm sorry, because Jen's been taking over the chat. I can't even get. So I posted a picture, right here. We got Joseph Mengele, right? He was known as the Angel of Death. Well, this is what he did, bro. He was a physician. It says here, and with twin experiments, particularly interest as one twin could serve as subject with the other as the control. This research also hoped to gain insight in how Germans could reproduce more twins. And we know that this is a fact in Argentina now because a lot of Germans fled after World War II to Argentina. There's a lot of twins on there. But anyways, the experiments included amputating healthy limbs, deliberately infecting them with diseases such as typhus, blood transfusions from one twin to the other, and sewing twins together to create conjoined twins. Eva Moses Kaur, a survivor, also claimed that Mengele cross-transfused the blood of opposite-sex twins to change their respective sexes, experimenting on twins' genitals and attempting to attach the urinary tract of a 7-year-old virgin to her own colon. Most twins died during these procedures. If one survived, they would be killed and dissected for comparative postmortem reports. This is wicked, bro.
All right,
Well,
Andy's going to go, and then I'm going to go.
the thing is what you need to realize though is that we needed a boogeyman, right? And that boogeyman was Hitler. I'm sure you'd agree with that, right, Lion? To a certain extent, we needed a boogeyman, and that boogeyman was Hitler. Yes.
Why did we
Because
need a boogeyman?
Because we needed to demonize the German people, the most honorable people there is. You can go through their history from Prussia to the Visigoths to the Scythian tribe. These were the most honorable people that's ever been. So that's kind of where I look at it. You really need to know your history about these things.
Right.
Well,
But when we talk about
Germany was bad, though. We said Germany was a great place to live before Hitler.
Well, yeah, the German people is what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he was controlled by wealthy Americans, just as Putin is today.
Yeah.
Wealthy people.
That might be the case, right? But that's besides the point. Like, granted, we needed
Is it though?
we needed an
hang on, Lion.
antagonist.
That actually refutes what you said, because you said that Mengele did those things. Was it Mengele? Angel of Death?
Yeah.
He did
Yeah.
those things under supervision of Hitler, and if Hitler was under supervision of a wealthy donor, that kind of refutes your Mengele argument, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yes, it
You guys
does.
are trying to you're trying to take away accountability from Hitler and point it to now some American politician, dude.
You're trying to
Regardless,
take accountability away from Mengele
however
and
you
point
want
it
to
to
chop it
Hitler.
up. However you want to chop it up. The point is that Hitler was not a good guy. Neither was his regime, right? So he had
But do
right
you
hand
concede
people.
that the Mengele point is accountable to Mengele and not Hitler? Because otherwise, then Hitler
Bro,
wasn't
who
accountable
appointed
to
him?
Hitler, and
Who
he was
appointed
accountable to
him?
someone else.
Who appointed him?
The Rothschilds. The Rothschilds funded
Right? These
both
were
sides.
SS officers, bro. These were his right hand man, dude, that surrounded him on a regular basis.
Who appointed
If he
Hitler?
didn't want him around, he would have got rid of them.
Who appointed Hitler?
He would have terminated them, exterminated them like he did
Who
everybody
appointed
else.
Hitler? You don't know your
And he did
history,
do that.
man.
He did actually execute his own SS officers, by the way. If
Who
he didn't
appointed
want him,
Hitler?
if he didn't want Josef Mengele around, he would have exterminated him. So stop trying to take away accountability.
Who appointed
from
Hitler?
My point here is, right, that these people were accusing the Jews, right, of promoting sexual deviances and depravity. Yet they were the first ones involved in sex changes
Who put Hitler in power?
and
Can you answer
developing
that?
synthetic
No.
drugs. So developing synthetic drugs like methamphetamines. They were the ones that created methamphetamines in Mali and synthetic
I don't
opiates.
think you know your history. I
No,
think
what
you're
you're
just reading
doing is
propaganda.
bulldozing, man.
Sounds like to me.
Dude,
You
you're
realize
trying to
that
catch me, bro. You ain't gonna work. Sorry.
No,
You're
dude,
just
you
bulldozing.
realize
You're not saying
you catch
anything.
Not
yourself
Just
bulldozing.
bluff.
So rebuttal what I said. Go ahead.
Do you understand that Berlin was known for being at that time the smut capital of the world? You understand that, right?
That's not the point, bro. Again, you guys are
That's
deflecting.
my
I already
point.
granted
That's
you
my
that.
point.
I already
That's my
granted
point.
you that. I already granted
Yeah.
you that.
I the other day I had a trans activist using that as an argument, actually saying, oh, well, you know that the Nazis burnt the books, right? They burnt the trans books. Yeah, they burnt the fucking homosexual and trans smut. That's the books that they burnt. I love that scene in
and that is true.
what is
That
it,
is very
Indiana
true. And
Jones. Remember that? He says
so
it with such. He says it with such righteousness, does old Indiana Jones. They burned books. Yeah, but what
Yeah.
books were they burning, Indy?
I get that, and they condemned the Jews for their promotion of pornography and sexual
Yeah, but here's the
depravity.
thing, Lion.
But at the same
Here's the
time,
thing,
they
real
were doing
quick.
sex changes behind closed doors, guy, on
Were
7-year-olds.
they
That's
though?
the point, dude. So
What
just
they-
like any politician, they speak a good speech on the podium, and you guys eat it up, right?
No.
But behind closed
It's
doors, they're
not
doing sex changes.
bulldozing, man. Just
Can I
relax.
can I make
man.
a point real quick? You've been going
Yeah,
off
Dustin.
for a while, Lion. Just want to make a point. Who funded both sides of that war?
Yeah, exactly.
I
Britain.
know. Lion, do you know?
Yeah, it was Britain.
Britain
Sure.
in specific, or was there a man or a group or a family? Do you know?
No, yeah, I do know. I remember going in through that work. I forget the exact names, but yes,
I
it
can
was
tell you.
it was a royalty in England that basically funded both wars and involved with American politicians too.
Yeah, it was the
Excuse
Rothschilds.
me.
So you've got a Jewish family funding a war against Jews. How do you think about? How do
It
you feel
wasn't
about
just
that?
the Rothschilds, dude. It was
Did the Rothschilds not?
more England.
Okay, but did the Rothschilds not fund both sides of the war?
That's irrelevant. Again, you guys keep
Why?
deflecting.
Why do you?
Like,
Why do you
guys?
wanna look
Why are
over
you guys
that? Why do you
deflecting?
wanna
Dude?
over-
I'm not
why do you wanna
overlooking. I
overlook?
agree with you, bro. I agree. The thing is, like, I agree with all of this, but that's irrelevant. That's logically irrelevant.
It's
Also,
not,
I'm
though.
making
you say
specific
that
It's really
point
not,
here,
though.
and you
It's
guys
really
keep
not,
deflecting to other things that I actually agree with you on.
No,
Yeah, it's really
actually,
not,
you're
though. It's not
deflecting,
irrelevant.
man. You just scattergun, you bulldoze, you repeat yourself ad nauseum. That's the deflection. You're deflecting.
Let me know
We're
when you're
trying to
done.
keep you on point.
So you okay, and you project and you gaslight.
Yeah, that's completely wrong. Exactly backwards.
You project and you gaslight. Okay,
I'm not gaslighting you.
bro. Just because you've been convinced, you've been hanging out in Ether Cosmos over there, and
Straw
they all
man.
believe the
You're
same
straw
shit.
man. No
You're
matter what you
gaslighting
They
say
all
now,
believe the
bro.
same
you're
shit, bro.
straw
They
man.
think Hitler's a great
You're
guy.
gaslighting now.
That's a
You're
straw man.
gaslighting
You're
now, bro.
gaslighting. No matter what you said there, Lion was gonna be a straw man. I don't think Hitler's a great
It's not
guy.
a straw man, dude. Just own
Yes,
it,
it
bro.
is. I don't think Hitler's a great guy. You've said that about me 4 times now. That's by definition a straw man. It's also an ad hom. Enough. Put
No,
it
it's
back,
not because
man.
no, you right now you're playing neutral. Like, I don't really think Hitler's a great guy, but yet you're
I didn't
defending
say
him,
that
and then
either.
you're like in reference to what? In reference,
No.
he's a bad guy. In reference to what?
You're bearing false witness.
No, I'm not, dude. Stop. Dude.
Yes, you are.
Just own it, bro.
If you say that I said I think Hitler's a great guy, you're lying. If you say I'm playing neutral as if I'm acting like Hitler's a good guy, you're a liar. Do you
All right,
understand?
so on the record, say right now, Hitler was not a good guy. Say it, and don't hesitate. Say it.
I don't think Hitler's a good guy, but you're a liar
All
if
right,
you
good.
say I said
So
otherwise.
that's the whole point of the conversation. That was the whole argument. I'm glad that you conceded. Now the argument's over. Great, we're done. Let's move on.
That wasn't my
literally the whole.
position.
That
You
was the crux of
strawmanned
the
my
argument,
position
bro.
to shut the fuck up, man. You strawmanned my position to be something it wasn't, so you could fork yourself against it and virtue jerk yourself off.
Dude, you keep projecting. Keep projecting,
I,
dude.
No,
All
I
you're
don't
good
know,
at.
man.
All you ever do is project, dude. Since you've been here.
All I ever do is project. You changed my position and you argued against it, so you could virtue jerk
Bro,
yourself.
you guys all hesitated to say Hitler was a bad guy, right? Now that I got you
that's
cornered,
the definition
you
of
were forced
virtue
to confess
signaling,
it. Now
man.
the
You're
argument's
virtue
over,
signaling.
bro.
If you don't denounce Hitler, you're a bad guy and
All
I'm a
right,
good
so-
guy. That's virtue
just relax.
signaling, man. You're
Okay,
a libtard.
You're
So
done.
let's-
You're done.
let's-
Next guy.
let's
So
make it-
next guy. Now I want to hear Andy confess that Hitler's a bad guy. Andy, you're
Lion,
next. Is
Lion,
Hitler
you
a
gotta-
bad guy?
Lion,
All right, hold
Lion,
on, real quick.
Hold on.
Nah,
Yeah,
dude, we're going down the line.
you gotta
Dyslov.
settle
Stop,
down.
No, dude,
bro.
we're not gonna actually, we're gonna just stop this conversation completely. I'm gonna make a hard call here, guys. We are changing the subject. If you want to continue it, go down to live stream 2, hop on a private call with whoever wants to do it with you. It's just getting way too out of hand, guys. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I agree. It is getting pretty
All
chaotic.
right, cool.
Here.
Let me just say this
Let's
last
change
point,
the
right?
topic.
Closing.
Let's-
No,
He was
actually,
a good
Lion,
guy.
please, no final statements from anybody. We're literally gonna change the subject.
Dude, who are you to change the subject, though?
I'm listening
Like,
to
we're both
two
the
mods.
mods, dude.
I'm
We're
listening to
both
two
mods.
mods. I know. I'm listening to two other mods curse at each other and freak out. And I get it. Things got
Okay, and I
heated.
can't have a closing
gonna-
statement, dude.
No, because I'm saying we
Who-
should just change the. Do you
who
want
are you
dude?
to
You
say
and
I
I can
can't have a
dude.
closing
I will
statement?
literally go down to live stream 2 and talk with you
Nah,
about
dude,
this.
chill
We're
out, bro.
just
I'm
we
gonna say
shouldn't do it on
I'm
the
gonna
live
say
stream.
my closing statement, whether you like it or not, unless somebody of higher rank tells me otherwise. So I'm gonna say this real quick, right? Bro, it shouldn't be a problem. Why did people hesitate to say Hitler's a bad guy? That's all. Go ahead.
Well, you gotta I'm gonna take
Like-
it down to a micro scale. All right. So if you've got a child, right, and this child is just a freaking raging psychopath, bro, serial killer, and you've got two parents that realize this kid's a problem, and they're still protecting this kid. They're financing him with anything he needs, and they're overlooking his issues. Who's the worser of the two evils there? Is it the kid that's a raging serial killer, or is it the parents that are enabling him? Are you capable of answering that line?
No, I'm done. I already gave my closing statement, dude. I wasn't
Okay.
kidding.
All right. Well, I guess I made my point then.
And for the record, Lion, Platypus and me both outrank you as far as mods go. So if Platypus says we're closing the subject, then yeah, he outranks you.
Well, I wasn't aware of that, but I mean,
Dude, literally, I wasn't even
Over,
aware of
dude.
that either. I didn't even know what kind of mod I was on this server. I've just known Geo for like 6-7 years, and this is not the place. This is not what he wants to create.
Yes.
He wants to create a place where people can come and have honest, cordial discussion. He definitely doesn't want mods yelling at each other and pulling rank like that. I wasn't even trying to do that. I was just trying to be like, guys, we're all friends. We are not each other's enemies, and this is not how we talk to each other if we're going to be having a cordial discussion. That's all. And I love all you guys.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I
100%,
just
Vladdy.
don't want
Thank
my
you.
position to be misrepresented. If someone says, "Look, you've been hanging out there too long. You love Hitler because you've been hanging out on that server." Come on, man. What is that? We shouldn't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah,
the
that's true.
conversation's over, bro. Why are we still going on with
It's
this?
the cosmology.
That we,
Hanging
dude,
out
I
in
didn't
Hitler
say you love it. You're strawmanning me, so I don't know. You're the number
Yeah,
one
you
guy to call out
literally
fallacies,
said
but
that,
you're
man. Don't
literally
lie
committing a
now.
fallacy.
No. If you say you didn't say that, you're lying, and I'll clip you up for saying that. So be specific.
Well, we don't need to go backwards, do we? I think it's fair to say that if you get triggered by words like Nazi, then you should know that you've had a little, social engineering. Really, that's kind of the way I see.
Yeah,
You know,
that
you-
doesn't trigger me. I just don't want to be
No,
misrepresented.
I didn't mean you. I didn't mean you specifically. I just mean anybody, because I've noticed that as soon as you say, "Oh, we've got to start clutching our pearls now," because of the whole narrative that follows them, which is this Holocaust, which is not true. You know, it's easy. I can debunk it 10 different ways: mathematically, physically, logically. How do you want to debunk it? It's very easy. But I'll
So
tell you what, billions of dollars have been paid to Israel for this thing that never happened. And so and the thing is, they use that as well as a liability to then do horrible things to everybody else. So yeah, it needs to be exposed.
So
Absolutely.
just to let you guys know that I'm aware, I'm gonna post some documentaries that I recommend people watch. Like, I'm not ignorant of this, and I know that there's connections to the royalty in England and American politicians. This is on Rumble. Hitler was a British agent tasked with creating Israel. Like, dude, I'm not in
I
disagreement
like
with
that.
this.
I like that
So
point
when
you
you
made, though,
guys,
Andy. You know, like Hitler, right, was a supremacist. But then when you look at the modern Jews today, they're no different. They think they're God's chosen people. They're better than everyone else, and they deserve the world. Like it's the same exact ideology.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre.
David Irving famously said he was waiting for him to, erect a statue of Hitler in Tel Aviv because of how much he helped them. I mean, when he first came onto the scene, he got in trouble not for denying the Holocaust because he didn't have all the information from Fred Loister a lot later and all the scientific evidence that shows that it couldn't have happened. But
I kind of think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I thought
I was just going to say he came into the scene, and the reason he got in trouble is because he diligently went through all the archives, the American, the British, the German. He went through the whole thing, and he never found any documentation that Hitler knew anything about any gas chambers, and that was his contention. That's all he said. Only documentation he ever found regarding Jews and Hitler was him helping them. And so, sometimes their SS officers get out to line. He never denied that Jews were mistreated. Even he said some of them were lined up. He was saying like, look, some of these people lined up and shot. He wasn't saying that mistreated. He was saying that the only documentation. Am I coming
I thought
through?
we were changing the topic, but if we're gonna continue the topic, I'm gonna keep pushing back at it.
Well, I'm just saying the only documentation that David Irving found was him helping Jews. Ironically.
Yeah, I kind of look at it like any group that's going to claim supremacy, right, to the point where they're willing to kill other people, should be labeled a terrorist group, in my book.
And that's really what it comes down to, I think. It's the innocence, isn't it? Right? That's kind of the way I look at it, anyway.
You know how I look at it, bro? It's like going from globe to concave, dude. So what you guys have done, and maybe not you, but people that believe this stuff, you guys just you adopted the counter narrative. That's just equally as erroneous as the original mainstream narrative.
Well, propaganda exists, though, right? You don't deny that, surely.
You hyper overcorrected. So now that Hitler's not, he didn't do any of this stuff that he was accused of doing. Now he's an angel. Now, I'm not saying that you yourself, Andy, believe that. I'm being, a little facetious there, but you get what I'm saying, all right?
Yeah, it seems pretty clear that he did actually care about the German people, though. I mean, Stalin, he killed millions of people. This motherfucker was so paranoid, I think he killed his own wife. Right?
But what do you mean by the German people, though?
The German people? What do you think I mean by that?
The people who live there? Or
yes.
All of them?
Well, I do want to give credit to
the superiority of the Aryan race that needed Lebensraum, which was a plan to excavate for given living space.
Yeah, Lebensraum. Yeah, room for the people. Yeah.
I want to give credit to Riggs for he's the one that originally sent me some of these links that I'm posting in the chat.
Have you heard of the Avar agreement, Mega?
The Avar agreement? No, what is that?
It's there was an agreement where they were going to move all these the Jews to Palestine.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, they even created a commemorative coin for it with a a Star of David on one side and a swastika on the other.
Well, we got to push them out somewhere, right?
Well, that's the thing. These people were moved around constantly. They got kicked out over 100 countries, didn't they?
Yeah, the Jews have been moved around and subjugated like pretty much all throughout history.
That's
Um,
facts.
So what?
Can you
Well,
see
wait,
it?
wait
Can you
a
see
minute.
the
Wait a
chart?
minute.
Look, there it is. Look,
Is
that's
it
the
is it
point.
the 100? Is it the 100 countries that were the problem, or was it the group that was being kicked out? Which I'm trying to make sense of that one.
Well, evidently in the heads of all the groups, it is but it's because they don't really want to spread out. Muslims, they have this whole narrative of wanting to spread the religion. Jews really just keep to themselves. They succeed because they keep to themselves a lot, right? And that's why you have a lot of these Jews with a lot of money, and then conspiracy theories builds up. What is this weird little group that
Hey,
pesters all
conspiracy
throughout
theories,
society?
right, of course. You know where the term conspiracy theory comes from, right?
Yes, a theory of a conspiracy done by something over a large population of people or whatever. A
It came
conspiracy
out.
is when somebody conspires against you, and a conspiracy theory is a theory about somebody conspiring against you, right?
Yeah, it came after JFK. It was introduced then, right?
The CIA
But
was the
But what
first
does
one
that
to
have
come
to
up
do
with
with
that word.
what does that have to do, like where it comes from,
Yeah.
have to do with what I said about the
because
Jews?
people can just say conspiracy theory and then it like shuts
But you
off
know
the
what I mean
minds
by
of
that.
the people.
Doesn't
No,
matter who
listen to
made the
me.
word.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. They just say the term conspiracy theory and then the brains just shut off. They're like, oh, I don't have to pay. I can just hand wave and dismiss it then as
Well,
nonsense.
clearly I used it properly here, and you knew
Right.
exactly what I meant by it.
But I'm saying you've got to be careful and know that there's some word trickery going on here. There's some word magic.
But you also agree that every theory like that subjugated the Jews through history were conspiracy theories, i.e., theories on them conspiring against people that by having like
Bro, they
secret
took over the
sects and
banking
doing weird
systems,
things.
dude. That was the main
Yeah,
problem.
so that they're
I mean,
conspiring against you, right? So you have a
Germany
theory
brought
about that.
Germany brought them in, right? And
But yeah,
and
but
at
so
the
it's a
end, and
conspiracy
then they
theory.
okay. I guess I can't talk.
No, because you talked over me. I just wanted to say that me calling that a conspiracy theory is not just pulling a buzzword out because you hear it being said so much about all types of things like the moon landing, the Earth.
Well, what was it, about 1290s, I guess, in the Britain, there was a ring of these so-called Jews. I say that because I usually call them the people that call themselves Jews, right? They were cutting. You've probably heard this phenomenon where they used to chop the ends of the coins off, right? And they formed a whole industry around it, essentially stealing the king's gold by just chopping the edges of the coins off.